Okay, welcome back to my channel. I am Lillian Yvette, also known as SavvyClickChick. And if you don't know much about me, I share my journey with you. I share my relationship journeys, my financial journey, my career journey, all this stuff, so that you can kind of learn from my missteps, okay? So today the topic is dating. So as many of you know, I have been married for 15 years, and before that I was married before for 10 years. I never really dated. Even with my spouses, even with my husbands, I never really dated them. And so I literally am now, all these years later, in a whole different space where I'm dabbing my toes back into the dating scene. And let me tell you, it's kind of crazy, okay? So I've been trying out different apps. Evidently, people don't really meet in real life anymore, so it's like IRL is just like old school. I have no idea. But I was kind of challenged to try some dating apps, and that's what I've done. So I have tried Bumble, I have tried Hinge, I've tried Black People Meet. I'm sure there are others that I can't think of, but those are the primary ones until recently, where I just started using Facebook dating, which is actually really cool. So they actually came out with their dating app in September of this year. So even though I guess they were in other countries and it tested it out there, now they have presented it to us here in the States, and it's kind of cool. But I'll talk about each of them a little bit in a minute. The thing I want you to know about my experience in the dating world now, like, coming into this whole new world, is that it isn't easy. It's like you're on these apps and it feels like a freaking job, okay? It's like you're swiping, and if you're anything like me, I get a little bit, it's like after a while it's kind of frustrating. It's like, no. Oh, maybe interesting. No. And it just, after a while, I'm a little overwhelmed. And so I will be on a specific app for maybe 30 minutes straight, which is a long time if you think about it. But then I'm out. I'm out for like a week. And then by the time I get back on, someone may have reached out to me, but I don't know because I haven't been on the app. So it's kind of one of those things where it kind of feels like you have to constantly be interacting with the phone, in order to keep it kind of constant and consistent, and making sure that people are not thinking that you're like disappearing on them when you might have liked them, but then you've gotten tired of swiping and so you kind of disappear. So that's the one thing, to think of it as kind of go into it knowing it's not that easy, and honestly, it's not even that fun. Secondly, when you're creating your profile, actually ask maybe some of your friends for some tips for how they would describe you, because I know I struggled a little bit with my bio. Even my bios now are kind of lame. I love the apps like Hinge and even the Facebook app because it gives you these prompts, and so you can answer them. It's like, two truths and a lie, or what's your if you were stranded on a desert island, what are the 3 items that you would bring? So you don't have to be that clever. You can just answer those prompts. And so to me, that's helpful, because otherwise I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to really say anything. I just kind of want to do this. And so the third thing is, make sure that when you are reaching out to people or they reach out to you, that you are engaging with them. And I would actually suggest, if you're brave enough, to suggest getting like a phone number so that you can text. You don't have to actually talk to the person voice to voice if you're not comfortable with that, but you can at least text outside of the app. I find for me it's better because I don't have to, again, the app situation is it gets kind of awkward. I'd much rather just take it off the app. And if you can, talk to the person sooner than later. That way you can know a little bit more about them through their voice and their inflections and just their use of grammar. I met this one guy who I didn't ever meet in person, but we met on, I think it was probably Bumble, and this guy ended up calling me, which was fine, but he didn't text me first. He literally just called me out of the blue, and I hate to say this, but literally he was like, "Hey, how you doing? What you doing?" And I was like, "Who is this?" You know, he didn't introduce himself, nothing. And it took me a minute to realize, oh, this is that guy I met on whatever app it was. He continued to talk, and I realized I could never talk to this guy because I could barely follow his conversation. I don't know if he was drunk, I don't know what it was, but I was so thankful that we had not actually met in person, because I think I would have been just like mortified. I wouldn't have liked him, which is terrible. But that's not lesson number 4. I am learning so much about myself through this process, and I'm feeling empowered and more confident. I think the very act of swiping is empowering. It's like, nah, not for me. Sorry, guy. No, cute, but no. It's like, and it's literally making me feel like I make the decision. I get to choose. And it seems like a very small, narrow thing, but for me, I am getting, it's exhilarating just in that. And I get to, even if there's someone that I like the looks of, I can look at the profile and think, well, all he does is work out. No, that's not for me. That's not good. Or he really has a lot of freaking cats. No, not for me. So it's that whole process has been quite engaging in some ways, frustrating in other ways, but I am being courageous and I'm doing this. This is a new chapter for me and I am embracing it. So I would like to hear some of your stories about your dating adventures, misadventures. I'll tell you one more before we go. I met this one guy, super cute. Went out with him to one of my favorite restaurants and had a great conversation. He made me laugh. It was really, and he was very much a gentleman, which I appreciated. Then he ended up asking me to meet him and some of his friends in the city. And I decided to go, and I went with the girlfriend, thank goodness, because it turned out that he literally, even though I had gone it's not that far, but I had actually gotten into my car, driven out to where he was. Once his friends showed up, he was there. He knew where I was. Instead of coming to come and say hello, he literally was just like waiting for me to come over and kind of be like, "Hi, I'm here. How you doing?" And it was just like, are you kidding me? Do I look like I'm 12? Do I look like I'm a fan? You know, it's like, I felt it was so rude. And so in my head, I thought, okay, another thing that I have to be mindful of. You can have a great first date. The guy can be a gentleman, but you really learn to know more about people the more time you spend with them. In this particular case, literally, it wasn't even a full second date. It was literally, had that little incident where he didn't even bother to come and greet me and meet my friend, ask me if I wanted a drink, see how I was doing. Instead, he wanted me to kind of go and be his little fan. I think he was trying to just show off in front of his friends. I think that's what it was. So that was a sign to me. So everything is a learning moment for me at this point in my life. And like I said, some of it's scary, but for the most part, I'm just trying to be courageous. And I hope you are too. So if you like what I'm talking about, and if you have anything to share, please share below. Remember to like this video, and please remember to follow me. And I'll talk to you guys later. Until then, stay savvy.